The endless darkness of the ocean had always held a special allure for humans. While most people feared the deep, Captain Mara Keen had always felt a strange comfort in its silent, shadowed world. She had spent her entire life exploring planets covered with water, but nothing had prepared her for what lay beneath the dark. Waves of ERYNDOR-3. Mara stood on the deck of her research vessel, Aegis, staring down at the glassy black ocean that stretched beyond sight. The planet's twin moons barely reflected any light on the surface, making the sea appear as an infinite void. Her crew moved about, preparing the submersibles for the descent. The mood was tense, but excitement hummed in the air. "Are we sure about this, Captain?" asked Ryan, the youngest pilot, his voice betraying nervousness. "The sensors are picking up something unusual down there." Mara smiled faintly. "That's exactly why we're going, Ryan. If everything looked normal, we wouldn't be making history. We're about to find something the universe has hidden for thousands of years." The crew didn't need more convincing. Mara's reputation was well known. She was fearless, brilliant, and endlessly curious. If she believed there was something down there, then there was. The submersibles, small, sleek machines designed to withstand crushing pressure, descended slowly into the abyss. As they sank, the light from the Aegis faded, leaving only the faint glow of their own navigation lights. The water grew colder and heavier, pressing against the metal of the submersibles like invisible hands. Hours passed in silence, broken only by the occasional static of communication systems. Then, on the main screen of Mara's console, a strange shape appeared. "Look at that," whispered Tessa, the team's chief scientist. Her voice was a mix of awe and disbelief. It looks like a ship." The shape became clearer as the submersibles drew closer. It was enormous, far larger than any human-made vessel, and its hull was covered in strange patterns and symbols. The metal was worn, but it glimmered faintly under the submersible lights. Mara's heart raced. "Bring us closer." Slow and steady. As the submersibles approached, the crew could see the full scale of the wreck. It was an entire fleet, ships of different shapes and sizes, resting on the ocean floor as if time itself had forgotten them. Some were upright, while others lay on their sides or upside down. Tentacle-like corals and strange glowing plants had grown over parts of the hulls. Blending with the alien metal in a surreal pattern, "These aren't human ships," Tessa said, her voice trembling with excitement. "Look at the design. No engine, no propeller at least. Nothing we recognize. And the symbols. They're not any language we know." Mara's eyes were locked on the largest ship, easily 3 times the size of the Aegis. Its hull had a strange, smooth curvature, almost organic in shape. It looked alive. And yet there was something else, something faint but unmistakable. A low hum, resonating through the water, vibrating through the metal hulls of the submersibles. "Do you hear that?" Ryan whispered. "Yes," Mara said softly. "It's like it's alive. Or at least it wants us to know it's here." The team deployed small drones to get closer and capture detailed images. As the drones moved through the wreckage, the hum grew louder, resonating in a rhythm almost like a heartbeat. Mara felt a shiver run down her spine. This was no ordinary wreck. Whatever had built these ships had left them here for a reason. Suddenly, one of the drones transmitted a clearer view of the hull. The symbols etched into the metal were intricate, spiraling and twisting in patterns that seemed to shift as if they were moving. Mara leaned forward, her eyes scanning the shapes. "There. Alive somehow," Tessa whispered. "Not like they're breathing, but responsive. Look, when the drone passes, the symbols shift slightly, almost like they're watching us." Mara took a deep breath. "Careful, everyone. We don't know what we're dealing with yet, but we're going to find out." For the next several hours, the team explored the area. They mapped the positions of the ships, recorded every detail, collected samples of the strange flora and minerals growing on the wrecks. Every submersible was in constant contact with the others, sharing images and readings. The ocean was quiet, but it felt alive, as if it were holding its breath. Then, something truly astonishing happened. One of the smaller ships began to shift. Not fall, not drift with the current, but move deliberately. The metal groaned faintly as it pushed against the ocean floor. The crew froze, watching in disbelief as the ship slowly rotated, as if acknowledging their presence. "It's reacting to us," Ryan said, his voice barely audible. "It knows we're here." Mara's mind raced. Could these ships be sentient? Could they somehow communicate even after centuries beneath the waves? She had seen many strange things in her life, but this was beyond anything she had imagined. "Prepare to dock," Mara said. "We need to get inside, carefully." The submersibles approached the hull of the largest ship. The door, or what appeared to be a door, slowly opened as they neared, revealing a dark interior. Lights flickered on inside, illuminating a corridor that seemed impossibly long. The walls glowed faintly. Same strange symbols etched on the hull now appearing inside. "It's welcoming us," Tessa said, her voice shaking. "Or, it's expecting us." Mara nodded. "Either way, we're going in." The crew moved inside the ship, feeling the pressure of the deep but also a strange warmth, as if the ship itself was guiding them. The corridor opened into a massive chamber filled with strange, floating holograms. They displayed images of stars, planets, and ships moving across the galaxy, accompanied by symbols that seemed to tell stories. This is incredible," Tessa said. "It's a library or a record. The ship preserved it all." Mara's eyes scanned the images, realizing that the civilization that built these ships had knowledge far beyond human understanding. Navigation methods, energy sources, even technologies that humanity hadn't discovered yet. And all of it lay here, waiting for someone to find it. But amidst the wonder, a shadow of caution crossed her mind. If this technology existed, why had it been hidden? And why had the ocean been its grave? There had to be a reason. Mara knew that curiosity could be dangerous, but it was also what made humans extraordinary. "Take as much data as you can," she instructed. "But we need to be careful. We don't know what else is down here." Hours passed as the team explored the ship, recording everything. They found evidence of propulsion systems, energy cores, and control rooms unlike anything built by humans. Every detail was a mystery, and yet every mystery hinted at a story of exploration, survival, and intelligence far beyond their own. Finally, Mara called the team together. "We have enough data to start understanding what we've found, but this is only the beginning. There are more ships, more secrets, and perhaps dangers we can't yet imagine. We'll need to plan carefully before we go deeper." As they prepared to leave the ship for the night, Mara looked back at the glowing symbols. The hum of the vessel had faded, but she could feel its presence still, as if it were waiting. Waiting for someone to continue the journey, the submersibles rose slowly, leaving the ancient shipwreck behind. The ocean was dark and endless once more. But Mara knew that humanity had just taken its first step into a story far older and larger than anything they had ever known. The mysteries of the deep were calling, and she intended to answer. Above them, the Aegis drifted silently on the black surface. Mara stood at the deck, staring at the stars. Somewhere out there, other civilizations had existed, and their legacy had waited for humans to discover it. And now, humans had found it. The discovery of the ancient shipwrecks was only the beginning. The ocean's darkness pressed around the submersibles like a living thing as Captain Mara Keen and her team returned to the ancient shipwrecks. Sleep had been brief on the Aegis, as excitement and anticipation kept everyone awake. The discovery of the first ship had already made history, but Mara knew the real challenge was just beginning. "Are we ready for this?" asked Tessa, checking the equipment on her submersible. Her voice was calm, but her eyes betrayed her nervous excitement. Mara glanced around the control room, seeing determination etched on every face. "We don't have a choice," she said. "We came here to learn, and we can't stop now." The submersibles descended again, sliding through the dark water toward the largest ship. This time, the crew was prepared. They had mapped the area, studied the previous readings, and planned their exploration with care. Yet, as they approached the wreck, Mara noticed something strange. The symbols on the hull glowed brighter than before, pulsating rhythmically. almost like a heartbeat. It's responding to our presence, Ryan said, his voice filled with awe. It's like it knows we're here. Mara nodded. It does. And that's why we must be careful. Curiosity can be dangerous, but it's also what makes us human. The submersibles docked at the same entrance as before, and the crew carefully entered the ship. Inside, the corridors seemed different from the last visit. The walls glowed faintly, showing patterns that shifted and moved as if alive. Holographic symbols floated in the air, displaying intricate maps of star systems, planets, and unknown objects. This is more than a ship, Tessa said. It's a record of a civilization. It's their knowledge preserved perfectly under the ocean for thousands of years. Mara felt a shiver of awe. She had expected relics, maybe some old technology, but this was beyond imagination. The ship itself seemed aware of their presence. Guiding them deeper into its structure, suddenly a sound echoed through the corridors, a low, vibrating hum that seemed to resonate with the crew's very bones. The holograms flickered, shifting, to reveal a new image. A small glowing sphere floating in a chamber at the center of the ship. That's a power source, Tessa whispered. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. The energy readings are off the charts.
I'm gonna step forward.
Her curiosity stronger than fear. Let's get closer, but keep sensors active. I want to know everything about it before we touch anything. The chamber was immense, far larger than anything the Aegis could contain. The walls were covered in symbols, flowing like liquid metal, as if telling a story in real time. The sphere, at the center, pulsed with energy, casting shimmering light across the room. It radiated warmth, but also a sense of intelligence, as if it were aware of the humans standing before it. This is alive, Ryan said quietly. It's not just energy, it's conscious. Mara's mind raced. The possibilities were incredible. If the ship and its energy core were sentient, it could mean that the civilization that built these vessels had achieved something humanity could barely imagine. Communication, preservation of knowledge, perhaps even a way to interact with the universe in ways humans hadn't discovered yet. As they examined the sphere, the ship reacted in ways that were impossible to ignore. The symbols on the walls shifted into patterns resembling constellations, star maps, and even three-dimensional models of planets. The energy in the room seemed to respond to their movements, forming shapes around their submersibles. It's teaching us, Tessa said in wonder, showing us how to understand it. Mara nodded. We must pay attention. Every detail is important. The team spent hours exploring the chamber, recording data, and studying the holographic projections. They discovered schematics for propulsion systems, energy cores, and devices that could manipulate matter and gravity. The deeper they explored, the more they realized the intelligence of the ship was guiding them. It was not random. Every display, every symbol was deliberate, teaching them something new. But the ocean outside was not passive. As if sensing the awakening of the ancient power, the currents began to shift violently. Gravity anomalies tugged at the submersibles, and the pressure increased unpredictably. Strange bioluminescent creatures appeared surrounding the ship in glowing swarms, almost as if guarding it. Stay focused, Mara shouted over the comms. We didn't come this far to be scared off by the ocean. We have to understand it, not fight it. They delved deeper into the ship. They came across a central control room. It was enormous, with panels of glowing symbols that responded to touch. The crew carefully activated the controls, causing the room to light up fully. Holograms expanded, showing star systems across the galaxy and pathways that could allow ships to travel faster than light. It's a navigation system, Tessa said, her voice trembling. And not just any system, it's capable of guiding ships through space safely. Even through dangerous areas humans haven't explored yet. Mara felt a surge of pride and responsibility. The technology could change humanity forever, but it also carried immense risk. In the wrong hands, it could be catastrophic. We need to record everything, she said firmly, and we need to be careful. There's more to this than we understand. Then, the ship did something unexpected. The sphere of energy began to float out of the chamber, moving slowly toward Mara. It hovered just in front of her, pulsing with light, almost like it was greeting her. It wants me to touch it, Mara whispered. She reached out cautiously, her hand trembling. The moment her fingers brushed the glowing surface, a wave of understanding passed through her mind. Symbols and images rushed through her consciousness: star charts, energy patterns, even concepts of matter, manipulation, and navigation that humanity had never discovered. The crew watched in awe as Mara's eyes glowed faintly in the dim light of the chamber. "It's communicating directly," Ryan said, his voice full of wonder. "It's sharing knowledge with her." Mara took a step back, breathing heavily. "It wants to teach us," she said. "But we have to be careful. This knowledge is powerful, and it could be dangerous if misunderstood." The ocean outside grew even more turbulent, as if sensing the awakening of the ship's power. Waves of pressure and energy rippled through the water, creating strange patterns of light. The bioluminescent creatures swirled around the wreck, forming glowing rings, almost as if they were performing a ritual. "This isn't just a shipwreck," Tessa said. "It's a living archive, and the ocean is its guardian. It protects the knowledge from those who aren't ready." Mara nodded. "And we are ready to learn, but we must respect it. That's the only way we survive and understand." Over the next several days, the crew continued their exploration. They uncovered chambers filled with alien tools, devices for energy manipulation, and databanks storing information about the civilization that had built the ships. Every discovery was more astonishing than the last. The ship was more than a vessel. It was a library, a teacher, and a guardian all at once. But Mara also realized the stakes were higher than ever. The awakening of the ship's power could attract attention from beyond the ocean, even from other civilizations. If they mishandled the knowledge, the consequences could be devastating. Yet despite the dangers, Mara felt a deep sense of pride. Humanity had taken the first steps into understanding something far older and wiser than itself. The ship had awakened, not as a threat, but as a guide. It had chosen to share its secrets with those brave enough to seek them. As the submersibles returned to the Aegis each day, Mara looked back at the glowing shipwreck, its symbols pulsing in rhythm with the ocean. She knew that the journey ahead would be difficult and dangerous, but it was also full of wonder and discovery. Humanity was learning to reach beyond its limits, guided by a legacy older than the stars themselves. The awakening of the ancient shipwrecks had begun, and with it, the secrets of a civilization lost to the darkness of the ocean slowly started to unfold. The ocean was alive with light and movement as Captain Mara Keen and her crew prepared to explore the final chamber of the ancient ship. After days of studying, mapping, and understanding the vessel's secrets, they had reached a point where hesitation was no longer an option. The ship had awakened fully now, its energy pulsing through the water, filling the submersibles with warmth and faint vibrations. "This is it," Mara said, her voice steady but filled with awe. "Whatever is in this chamber, it could change everything we know about space and humanity." The team descended carefully, following the glowing path that the ship had illuminated for them. The energy sphere floated ahead, leading them like a beacon. Its light reflected off the walls of the corridors, showing symbols that had shifted once more. Now forming patterns that resembled gates and pathways to distant stars, Tessa studied the readings from her console, her eyes wide with excitement. "The energy in this chamber is off the charts. It's not just power, it's intelligence. It's guiding us to the heart of the ship." Ryan glanced nervously at the swirling lights outside. "Do you think it knows what we're capable of? That it trusts us?" Mara shook her head slowly. "It doesn't just trust us. It's testing us. Every step, every choice we make shows whether we are ready for what comes next." When they finally reached the chamber, the team froze. The space was enormous, larger than any human-built structure they had ever seen. The walls glowed with living symbols, forming constellations in cosmic pathways. At the center floated a massive translucent device shaped like a globe but filled with shifting light. Streams of energy connected it to the walls, pulsing in rhythm with the ship's low hum. "It's incredible," Tessa whispered. "It's like a star itself, but controlled and contained." Mara stepped closer, studying the device. "This is the core, the heart of the ship, and judging by the energy readings, it's capable of..." Almost anything. Transportation, energy generation, maybe even faster than light travel. The energy sphere moved gently toward Mara, its light enveloping her. The symbols on the walls shifted again, creating a pathway of glowing shapes that seemed to tell a story. Mara reached out, her fingers brushing the surface of the core. Instantly, her mind was flooded with visions, star systems, galaxies, and incredible technologies far beyond anything humanity had created. She saw energy flowing like rivers of light, navigation paths threading through dangerous nebulae, and mechanisms that could manipulate gravity and matter itself. It's showing us everything, Mara breathed. It wants us to understand. To carry its knowledge forward, the crew watched, amazed, as Mara's eyes glowed faintly with the reflection of the core's energy. The ship itself seemed to respond to her understanding, pulsing in recognition of humanity's intelligence and courage. This is more than technology, Ryan said quietly. It's a message, a gift. They wanted someone to find this and use it wisely. Mara nodded. Exactly. And it's our responsibility. Humanity has been given a choice to use this knowledge for exploration and growth, or for destruction. We have to prove we are worthy. As they studied the core, the ocean around the ship began to stir. The currents shifted violently as if the planet itself were testing them. Bioluminescent creatures swirled in protective patterns, creating rings of glowing light that circled the ship. Mara realized that awakening the core had awakened the planet's guardians. Steady, everyone, Mara instructed. We need to respect this place. It's alive, and it's testing us just as much as the ship is. The crew focused, navigating the submersibles carefully as they approached panels on the walls. Touching the glowing symbols, they unlocked sequences of instructions, revealing methods for using the ship's energy and navigation systems. The room filled with light and holographic projections, showing pathways through the galaxy and ways to harness the core's energy safely. It's teaching us how to operate it, Tessa said, step by step, so we don't make a mistake. Hours passed as they worked together, learning and recording everything. The deeper they understood the ship's mechanisms, the more confident they became that humanity could use this legacy wisely. Yet Mara also knew the risk. If the knowledge fell into the wrong hands, it could lead to disaster. Suddenly, the ocean shook with a powerful current. The ship's hum intensified, vibrating through the water and the submersibles. The core's light expanded, filling the chamber with blinding brilliance. Mara realized that the ship was responding not just to their curiosity, but to their intentions. It was testing whether they could control such power responsibly. Stay calm, Mara shouted. Focus on what we've learned. This is the test. The crew synchronized their actions, following the ship's guidance carefully. Slowly, the core's energy stabilized, flowing in harmonious patterns. The symbols on the walls shifted one final time, forming an intricate map of energy and travel pathways. The ship had accepted them. Mara felt a surge of exhilaration. It trusts us. We've proven ourselves. Then, the core projected a final hologram, a map of the galaxy with routes connecting distant star systems, along with energy signatures for safe navigation and methods to harness power from cosmic phenomena. The legacy of the ancient civilization was complete, and now humanity had access to it. This changes everything, Tessa said, awe in her voice. We can explore the stars in ways no one thought possible. Mara nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. Not just exploration, knowledge, preservation. We can learn from the past to protect the future. As they prepared to leave the chamber, the ship's core began to dim, returning to a quiet pulse. The symbols on the walls settled into a steady glow, as if content that its mission had been fulfilled. The energy sphere floated back to its original position, gently rocking in the water. The ship, ancient and wise, was at peace once more. The crew ascended to the Aegis, carrying records of every discovery, every symbol, and every instruction. The ocean outside was calm, the glowing creatures drifting peacefully around the shipwrecks. Mara knew that the planet's guardians had approved of their actions. Humanity had earned the right to continue the legacy. Back on the surface, Mara looked at her crew. "We have been given a gift," she said. "A responsibility. The knowledge we've gained can change humanity's future, but only if we use it wisely. We are the caretakers now." Ryan smiled, his earlier nervousness replaced with pride. "We really did it, didn't we?" Mara nodded. "We did. And this is only the beginning. The galaxy is waiting, and now we have the tools to explore it safely and wisely. Humanity has proven that courage, curiosity, and intelligence can overcome even the deepest darkness." The ancient shipwrecks, now silent and still, had shared their secrets. They had tested human ingenuity and morality, and humans had passed. The ocean darkness, once a prison of lost knowledge, had become a gateway to new possibilities as the Aegis set course for home. Mara stared at the horizon, knowing that humanity's journey had changed forever. They carried not only knowledge, but also the legacy of a civilization that had trusted them with its greatest secrets. And somewhere in the depths, the ancient ships waited patiently. Ready to guide those who were worthy once more, the stars above twinkled in silent promise, and humanity was ready to answer their call. The legacy of the ancient shipwrecks had been awakened, and with it, the courage and brilliance of humanity shone brighter than ever.